You look at all the stories in the Gospels, and there are just too many to try to use them as illustration. If you look at the stories in the Gospel, Jesus deals with the stranger, and Jesus deals with the outsider. Jesus was welcoming to the people who were on the edge of society, the people who were considered outcasts. He sought out people who were not part of the mainstream. He went and spent time with the widows. He went and spent time with the lame. He went and spent time with the blind, with the crippled, with the lepers, with the demon-possessed. He did not just spend time with the church leaders and with his disciples, but he went out into the outskirts of society, to the people who've been rejected, and he gathered them up. He was welcoming to them. And he accepted them where they were. And he accepted them with all of their problems, and all of their faults, and all of their failings. So if we're going to seek the lost, we need to be honest with them. And if we're going to say that we want people to come to Christ, then we must truly want them to come to Christ. And that might require some change. The question is, do we really want people to come to Christ? Because if we're going to be honest, if we're going to show people the truth, then we need to be open. And we need to be real. We need to be open and welcoming to people who are outside the church and those who are inside the church who have fallen away for any reason. We've got to be genuine about ourselves and our relationship with them and with God. And we need to be what I call transparent, let them see your own faults and your own mistakes. We don't have all the answers. Let them see that. We're called on to seek the lost, but are we willing to abandon the 99 to seek the one? And so we can ask, what's that mean to abandon the 99? Well, it might mean that we have to give up something that we value. We may have to move out of our seat. Let somebody else sit there. We may have to give up a tradition. And we need to celebrate the arrival of the newcomer, the visitor. We need to celebrate that. Romans chapter 1, verses 11 through 12, Paul says this, I long to see you so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. And this is Paul's letter to Rome, and it's important to know that Paul wrote this letter to a church and to a people he'd never met yet. He has not been to Rome. In fact, when he does go to Rome, he's a prisoner, so he doesn't get to evangelize very much. But he's written to a people that he's never seen, he's never met, and yet he is eager to meet with them. He is eager to share the gospel message with them. Because Paul knew that he could help somebody build their faith, but he also knew that this other person would help him in his own faith. And that's true of us too. We can help other people build their faith, and our encounter with them can help us with our own faith. Our faith can grow through an encounter with another person, by sharing faith with one another. Even those who are new to the church, even those who don't know Christ the way we know Christ, we can learn from them and we can grow from them. And we don't have all the answers, and we can work together. We need to be honest. We need to be welcoming. We must be willing to admit to our own struggles and to our own failings. In verse 14, Paul says of his own faith, I am obligated to both the Greeks and non-Greeks, both to the wise and the foolish. It was not just Paul alone who was able to be strong in his faith. It was through relationships with all people that Paul was able to move forward in his faith and move towards perfection the way we're supposed to. And so Paul had to be honest, and he had to be transparent, he had to be open, he had to be vulnerable. He was indebted not just to the Jewish people of which he was a part, but he was indebted to the Greeks, he was indebted to the non-Greeks, he was indebted to the wise, and even foolish people helped him to grow. Through these many encounters, Paul was able to grow stronger in his faith. And with that strength, Paul was able to be bold in his faith. Verse 16, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. And so like Paul, we need to be open to all people. We need to be welcoming. We need to show hospitality. And the first step is to seek out the lost and invite them in with all honesty, desiring that they will join us. We will all work towards salvation. At this time, I want to invite you to talk for just a few minutes at your table. Talk to the people there at your table. And talk about this. How can we be more welcoming here? And how do we bring people to church? Or any other comments you might have. So let's take a few minutes to share with one another.